I think the goal for the Giants, I think they're smart enough or realistic enough to know that they're not making the playoffs anyway. But if they can play competitive football and improve week in, week out, I think they could take positives from that. Again, I'm not in the locker room. I don't know what the guys are saying or seeing. We're not there. So for us, we're making assumptions regardless. But I think that a team that is competing to just get better week in, week out will take comfort and take a win out of, hey, we played well. We're playing better. Let's get back to the grind and now show our division rival that it wasn't a fluke that we beat them 2 weeks ago. So I really think the Giants will be competitive, and I think the mindset after a soul-crushing loss, I think the mindset will be, hey, we're playing better football. Let's get back to the grind and show people that we belong.
I have numbers on this. There have been 9 instances dating back to 1989, so not a big sample size, but 9 instances where teams were up by 18 or more heading into the fourth quarter and lost the game. How do you think they've done the following week?
2-7.
Is that straight up or against the spread? I should have asked.
Yes.
So you said 2-7. How about we invert the numbers? 7-2 against the spread. The teams have bounced back very well. 6-3 straight up, 7-2 against the spread. So those teams have bounced back. This actually occurred twice in 2022. It hasn't occurred since, not in 2023 or 2024. But 2022, the Ravens in week 3. So what happened in week 2 with the Ravens? I have to look that up. The Ravens at the Patriots, they won. It doesn't say the final score. They won and covered. But week 16, the Colts lost to the Chargers 20-3. That was, what game that was? That was after the Colts played against Minnesota. Remember, they were up on that Saturday against Minnesota. They were up by like 35. Yes. I forget what the score was. Like 34-0.
That was a playoff game?
No. That was not a playoff game.
That wasn't a playoff game? That was like a Saturday afternoon game? It
was a Saturday afternoon game, yeah. It was like a 4 o'clock game. Yeah.
Colts Vikings. Was that Daniel Jones?
That was
Cousins.
There's Colts Viking. Yeah, it was Cousins for Minnesota, and it was Matt Ryan for the Colts.
Matt Ryan. Okay.
Yeah, and then I think for that game, it was Nick Foles who had to come in, and that's why they didn't cover the spread. They lost 20-3 to the Chargers. But the Ravens earlier that year won 37-26 against the Patriots, and I wonder what was that week 2 game against that the Ravens had where they blew a lead. What was that? It was I'm looking it up right now.
Raiders.
And no, in 2022. You remember? Okay, I remember this one. Baltimore was up 35-14 entering the fourth quarter against Tua and the Dolphins, and Tua had an insane game. He went 36-50 for 469, 6 touchdowns and 2 interceptions to lead the Dolphins back 42-38. So the Ravens, they blew this huge lead, and the Dolphins won. And then next week, the Ravens went into New England and beat the snot out of the Patriots. So yeah.
I think the trouble, though, is, first of all, it's not enough of a sample size.
Of course.
Trying to handicap players' feelings and their emotional reactions to some of these games. I think for us now, and I think what we already talked about, is, to me, the line was too high. The Giants are a competitive team, and the Eagles, while I have them power rated towards top of the league, are not deserving of being more than a 7-point favorite. With or without Jalen Carter, I think it's a divisional game. It's a close game. Sure, if the Giants don't show up and they're mad and they come back after the game and they're still talking about the loss from the week before, then maybe it's something to file away for next time that this team doesn't have the mental fortitude to move on. But I don't think that'll be the case. And I don't think it's part of my handicap regardless one way or another. To me, it's really about power rating and the fact that the Giants are feisty, and Dart's having a really, really solid couple of games here and has proven, at least temporarily, that he is willing to run. They're absolutely going to fight. There's no reason they'll lay down 14. Unlike the Jets, who will punt down by a score, I see no reason why the Giants will stop trying to score if they're down by 14. So I think we're in a good position getting a full touchdown plus there.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously we're not going to bet the Giants because this is 7-2. That would be silly. But I think, well, first of all, There's two reasons to look this up. One, because it's fun. It's just like fun to reminisce about these games and remember, how the Colts blew that lead, how the Ravens blew that lead, and how they reacted afterward. The second thing is just to make sure that you're not walking into like a death trap. Like if I looked this up and I saw 0-9 and every team got blown out, I'd suddenly be like, well, wait a second, maybe we should just back away from this, or even like 1-8. Like how you look at like Sean Payton's record in weeks 1 and 2, or Zach Taylor's record in weeks 1 and 2. You see how like they're like 10% to cover, and like wait, let's back off a little bit here. Let's make sure that we like this game that much to make sure we're okay standing in front of that train. So that would be the only two reasons to look this up. But when I see 7-2, even if it's all like 3-6 or 4-5, I think I'd be okay with it. If I saw 1-8 and most of the games were blowouts, then I'd be concerned. But I think we're good with the Giants. Can make me go asking, how about the Eagles ticked off and out for revenge?
Sure.
I would say like this about the revenge is that the Eagles are a lot better than the Giants as far as perception is, and I look at it this way. It's like if you're playing against like your little brother on like playing like 1-on-1 or something, and like you're just goofing around like the Eagles were in that Thursday game, and your little brother hits some lucky shots that beats you, like you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be like, okay, let me buckle down and win this game. But like you're not gonna be like super motivated to do it. Like you're not gonna go 100% all out. Like you'll take the game a little bit more seriously, but you won't like you won't. This is not going to be like kitchen sink like against your little brother. Like you're still not going to take them that seriously. I still don't think the Eagles take the Giants that seriously. I think that's where I would fall on that angle. If this were the Redskins or I don't know, maybe even the Cowboys, like a team that's thought more highly of, then I would agree. But I don't know if the Eagles still take the Giants seriously. It's not like they're underdogs here. They're still favored by 7 or 7.5. So I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be 100% all out for the Eagles. I just don't see it. That's my take on it. I could be wrong. Like handicapping player emotion is difficult, as you just said. And I don't know. Maybe this is a kitchen sink game for the Eagles, but I really don't think so. They didn't just lose; they were embarrassed. I feel like they could say like, oh, we didn't give it our all. Like it was a low effort game for them. It's not like they tried hard and they got blown out. They just made stupid mistakes. They could even blame Jalen Carter being out. They could blame not having film on Dart. I don't know. I don't really see it as a big revenge game. I just don't. But
I think they were flat in the game, and I think they'll realize, hey, we can't come out like that. And they'll take care of business. They'll probably win the game, 24-20.
Right. I'm actually gonna look that up. How teams have done as big favorites in revenge games as big favorites again. I think that would be interesting. Again, like nothing to base our pick on, but I think that would be something. So I'll look that up while we talk about the next game. So the next game is the big game at 4:00. Cowboys at Broncos. This line is 3.5. It was 3. Now in the contest, it is also 3. No, it's 3. Is it 3 in the contest? Hold on. Let me make sure I didn't write down the wrong spread again. It is -3 in the contest. Interesting. So I like
circa 3.5 in the Super Contest.
Yeah, interesting. So I would have thought it'd be opposite because it was 3 earlier and then it went to 3.5. So Denver at -3 looks appealing. 3.5, not as much, but I still would like Denver here. Now I know that we're kind of down on Denver. Like they did not look good against the Jets. They did not look good against the Giants until the fourth quarter. They didn't look good against the Eagles until the fourth quarter. So they're kind of like played 2 good quarters in the past 12 games. But I really just don't trust Dallas at all. Like I thought Andy put it pretty well yesterday, where he said if you take like Dallas's offense versus Denver's defense, it's probably like a wash. Like Denver is one of the better defenses in the NFL. Dallas one of the better offenses in the NFL. But if you look at Denver's offense versus Dallas's defense, it seems like a big mismatch for the Broncos. Dallas's defense one of the worst in the NFL. Denver while they have struggled offensively at times, they do have enough to score on these horrible defenses. They did that against Cincinnati. Now, they didn't do that against the Jets, but I think that they may have been flat off all that travel. They've traveled from Denver to Philly to London. And then even last week, they traveled back to Denver. It was just a really tough scheduling spot. Now they'll be rested. And so I think that at -3, they look appealing against Dallas, but at -3.5, not so much. What do you think about this game?
Other side for me.
Okay.
Denver, obviously, off the wild comeback. They played terrible football last week. Their defense was awful. Now, I know we've talked about the Giants playing better, but Dart carved them up. I mean, he really carved them up. That game shouldn't have been close if not for a bunch of extra points and some points that they chased late or prevent defense. Denver should have lost that game. So Dallas, obviously, off of a blowout win, they kind of moved the ball at will against Washington. So not a great spot for Dallas. You mentioned the matchup with the number 2 Dallas offense against Denver's defense, which I have as number 3 yards per play. So I am perplexed. Again, the Dallas giving up 30 points to Carolina kind of shows how much you can't trust that defense. So really, almost any team, unless you're the Jets or Titans, should be able to score points on this team. But let's talk about Denver. To me, Denver's the most overrated team in the league. And I know I said that last year, and I've continued to say it this year. And you know what? It's kind of served me well. I'm 6-1 picking Denver games. Some of the games we've been on Denver, we were on Denver against the Eagles, which I think we got lucky to come back and cover that plus 3.5. And of course, they won the game outright, but they were down by 2 touchdowns late before the Eagles went to sleep. The only game I didn't cover my Denver pick was they won by 8, and they were favored by 8.5 week 1 against the Titans. By the way, that game was mighty close. That game was a 13-12 game, and Tennessee had the ball in Denver territory late in the game. And then the OC allowed them to throw the ball a couple of times, which they never got to throw off because Cam Ward took a bunch of sacks and got him out of field goal range when they had a chance in the fourth quarter to basically take a knee 3 times and kick a field goal that would have put them ahead. I think Denver is below average. I think Nix is awful. Every single week I look up his passing statistics. Almost 90% of his passes are at or behind the line of scrimmage. He throws everything short. When he throws the ball deep, he's not even close. He doesn't sniff his receivers when he throws the ball deep. He came back last week against a prevent defense. Then he ran the ball a couple of times when the Giants are in man or in these deep zones, not to give up big plays. And he's picking up plays. And give them credit because they came back and they scored when they needed to score. When they had the opportunities given to them, they took the opportunities. But they're an overrated football team. Dallas's offense is very good, and they're playing at a very high level. And now you're going to put Surtain on maybe CD, and then Riley Moss is going to get picked on. Riley Moss gets picked on every week because Surtain is that good. But now Dallas has the matchup to take advantage because they actually have a true number 2 receiver. You know, the Bengals, a team like that has these really good number 2 receivers. So you have matchup problems for Denver for their defense. Dak's playing great. Give them credit. I don't like Dallas, and I love betting against Dallas. We talked about that all year last year when we have opportunities, especially in prime time. Dallas, to me, is the better football team. How this line becomes more than a field goal makes absolutely no sense. Because I give Denver 2 points for home field, and most teams I give 1.5, I would say that that Denver is warranted as being maybe the favorite. I make it Denver -1. So when I see 3 or 3.5, no question. 3.5 is my number 1 pick on the board. 3 I still like. I think that Denver could win this game. I don't think this game is going to be more than a field goal game. I think it could be one of those back and forth 30-27, 31-28, 30-28. Also, Aubrey, you have to factor the kicking game in here. Aubrey going into Denver, he might be good from 70. So yeah. Dallas is going to put up points. Unless they're turning the ball over, which Dak has not been doing recently, Dallas is going to put up points. Dallas is going to put up 27, 30 points. And I don't think Denver's that good. So I continue to lower Denver in my power ratings. Like I said, I'm 6-1 picking Denver games this season. I'm very, very comfortable being off market on Denver because I will continue. I'll pick my spots with betting on them. We were on them in the Circa against Cincinnati. They won 28-3. We were on them. I mentioned the Denver Philly game. But we've also been against them a bunch of times, and I love Dallas in this game. And I can't remember the last time I said I love Dallas in a game. 3.5 line makes absolutely no sense. I absolutely think this game is going to be a field goal game one way or another. So at 3 for Circa, you want to say, all right, I don't want to take this. You're on the other side. We're not playing for pushes, right? We're looking for wins. Right. So I don't mind avoiding it at 3, but at 3.5, I'm absolutely taking this in the Super Contest. And I'm surprised that you like Denver in this game.
Okay, well, I'm just I don't like Dallas at all. So I'm higher on Denver than you are. I have Denver. What do I have Denver? And the number 13 in my rankings.
I have them 18.
Okay, well, that would explain the difference in this game. What happened to Dallas on the grass?
Sorry to cut you off. They should have lost to the Jets. Maybe they shouldn't have lost to the Jets. And maybe you want to throw. I know you're going to say international games don't count. I agree with you. The Jets should have lined up for a long field goal attempt to win that game. Denver almost lost to the New York Football Jets. And they did basically, in my book, lose to the New York Football Giants. This is a below average team. I'm sorry. I understand the pros like their stats, but this is a below average football team, and Dallas is going to score.
Yeah, they'll score. I think Denver will score a little bit more. What happened to Dallas on the grass in Chicago? Well, I mean, CeeDee Lamb got hurt in the first quarter. That would be the explanation for that. And I know that very well because that week in DraftKings, I had an amazing lineup. Like my lineup was sick. I had my lineup, even though after the 1 o'clock game, so that was a 4 o'clock game, my lineup was like cashing easily, and it was like within the top 500 of the SPY. And I still had Dak. I still had Lamb. I still had someone else in Chicago. I think it was Odunze. And I was like, man, I could win this. And then Lamb injury first quarter, done. It's just over. I barely cashed. So that was unfortunate because Dak also had a bad game with no Lamb. So that now I remember that game vividly, unfortunately. So does Dallas have a grass problem? I'm not aware of that. I mean, obviously a team like that's going to be better indoors. But you know, I haven't looked at the weather. I actually think looking at the weather is foolish because, you know, weathermen can't even get
the weather.
Weathermen can't even get the weather right. Like we're just going to take it for granted that they're going to be right about this. So looks like chance of rain, 60 degrees, 11% rain. Who knows? It could be 80 degrees, could be 20. Who knows? I don't know. So Allen or Mahomes plus Brees for Jones or May plus JT. I'm kind of confused by this question. Allen or Mahomes plus Brees. So he's trying to make a trade. So he's trying to trade either Allen or Mahomes. You have both. At plus Brees for Jones or May plus JT. So you're trying to get Jonathan Taylor and May. I see what you're saying. So you want to trade either Allen Mahomes and Brees Hall for Daniel Jones or May plus Jonathan Taylor. Okay.
Let's see how you can trade Josh Allen. If you're playing fantasy, and I don't play fantasy, but if you have Josh Allen, that's a guy that's could give you 35, 40 fantasy points in a given week. I understand Taylor's playing great. First of all, running backs can get hurt. There's much more chance of a running back going down, concussion, getting injured. I would absolutely keep Josh Allen and Mahomes over pretty much everybody else in the league.
And remember this about Josh Allen. He's already had his bye. So there's 7 weeks left of the regular season for fantasy. And you're going to get Allen for all 7. Whereas Jones has not had his bye. May has not had his bye yet. So you're going to get them for 6. Don't trade Allen. If you want to do Mahomes, I still don't even like it. Mahomes has been the top fantasy quarterback this year so far. Now I can understand trying to unload Brees because he could be traded, plus the Jets are terrible. But you could maybe find another trade to trade Brees. But I would keep Allen Mahomes in a super flex. That just gives you such a big advantage. And like I said, Allen for 7 games is a huge deal. If you think about it this way, most fantasy regular seasons are 14 games. And so having Allen over a quarterback who hasn't had his bye yet is basically like 2 games. So you'd much rather have Allen with 2 games over another quarterback, even if the other quarterbacks are really good. But yeah, I'd keep Allen Mahomes. Good luck, Big Rod Reviews. Thank you for the question. Okay, so we are on opposite sides of this game. So we could probably just move on to the Sunday night game, which is actually the big game of the week. We have Aaron Rodgers' revenge. We have Packers at -3 across the board here, although ESPN bet -2.5, -120. So if you like Green Bay, maybe go that route. I do not like Green Bay. Green Bay has not played a good game since week 2. Like, we had them lose to the Browns in week 3. And then week 4, they tied with the Cowboys 40-40. Then off their bye, they couldn't put away the Bengals. And then last week, they could have easily lost to Jacoby Brissett. So at some point, you have to wonder, like, is this team any good? Defensively, they're actually ranked 18th, which is pretty crazy. We were told that with Parsons, best defense in the NFL, Parsons is going to be Defensive Player of the Year. And it was since week 2, and remember that week 2 was a weird Thursday night game with travel for Washington. Since week 2, we haven't seen them play all that well at all. So I kind of question why they're -3 here in Pittsburgh against a Steelers team that, has been feisty throughout Tomlin's career as an underdog. Mike Tomlin as an underdog is 64-36 against the spread. That's 64%. And Tomlin as an underdog, off a loss, even better. So I like the Steelers here. What do you think about this game?
So I agree with you that the Packers are overrated. I still have them number 8 in my rankings, and I've picked out at number 20. To me, and even with that, knowing that I have Green Bay 8 and Pittsburgh 20, I made the line 1.5. Pittsburgh is another one of those teams that I think gets 2 points for home field advantage. So I do think the Packers are the better team, maybe by a field goal on a neutral field, but not in Pittsburgh. So if I'm getting 3 here, again, I'm not necessarily playing for the push. I think this is going to be one of those back and forth games. I like Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh absolutely could win this game. To me, it's really about the spot. We don't like Tomlin off a win. We love Tomlin off a loss. And they had a brutal loss to Cincinnati. He was complaining about the trade that, it's not fair that Cincinnati got Flacco traded within the division. How could you do that? To be complaining about Joe Flacco is pretty pathetic. But this is Mike Tomlin. They're going to lose games they're supposed to win, and they're going to win games that they're supposed to lose, theoretically. When I say supposed to lose, they're dogs in the game. Wouldn't surprise me if they came out and won this game. We also know we're going to have a very, very motivated Rodgers. And Rodgers, of all quarterbacks, is a guy like a Tua. The reason they don't get sacked a lot is they get the ball out quick. So that neutralizes a Parsons type of pass rush. Now, Parsons has been, I guess you could say, relatively quiet lately because he hasn't put up stats. He hasn't put up the sack numbers. But if you really dig a little bit deeper, he actually leads the league in pressure rate. Nice. The guy is in the backfield in every single possession. Now, he's been going against quarterbacks who are getting the ball out quick. So it's not showing up on the stat sheet that he's picking up sacks or pressures, but he is actually in the backfield more than close to like 30-40% of the time. So he could have potential to be a game wrecker here. But I think Rodgers gets the ball out nice and quick. I don't think the Packers have anybody on the outside who can contest DK. So I think Rodgers will get the ball out quickly. He'll get the ball into his playmaker's hands right away. There's mismatches that he can take advantage of. And I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I think this game is like a 27-24, 28-27. Again, I trust the kicker. You have Boswell here, like I trust Aubrey in Denver. I trust the kicker here in Pittsburgh to make some of those big kicks late that could win this game late, that could send the game to overtime late, that could turn a 2-point loss or 1-point deficit into a 1 or 2 point win. So I like Pittsburgh to win one of those very close back and forth games. I think we're getting 3. So I think that puts us on a potential for a push. Again, we're not looking for the push, which is why I wouldn't fight for the Cowboys. Same thing with the Steelers. But I'm definitely on the Steelers side of this game, and I highlighted it as a top 5 potential pick.
Okay. So how do you feel about definite versus maybe on our card?
So for me, this is like number 5, 6 with the next game. So for me with the Super Contest, and I went 4-1 again in the Super Contest. So the reason why that's important for me this week is it's the mini contest, right? It's week 7, 8, 9. And my assumption is that if you go 13-2, you have a chance to maybe win the mini or win something. So
yeah.
I was annoyed that I didn't go 5-0. Obviously, you'd like to start with a 5-0, but I feel like if I can go 4-1 or 5-0 this week again, I'll have a chance next week to maybe be in the money or potentially be in the money. So I'm looking at the Steelers as a maybe, but again, because it's 3, I don't want the push. I don't want the tie. I'm looking for wins. So my other options are big favorites. So that's where I'm not sure, not to spoil the next game, but do I prefer taking the home +3 dog or a lay a 12 or a lay a 7 or a lay a, for example, the Bengals are 6.5. The Patriots in the Super Contest I mentioned was 6.5. So do I take some line value with one of those bigger favorites or take the team +3 that I do think it's going to be a very close game. So it's not like I'm saying, oh, you know what? I love the Steelers to win. I think it'll be a 3-point game or maybe a 1 or a 2-point game. I don't think the Steelers will lose by margin. I like the spot. So given that, because Pittsburgh's coming off the loss with Tomlin with the extra rest, I think this is the right time to take Pittsburgh. So I like Pittsburgh. Where do I compare that to some of the others? I don't know. It's kind of borderline them with our next game and maybe with the Colts as well. So I'm more indifferent. Like I don't love one over another enough to like really make a strong argument.
Okay, I'll put it down to maybe. You talk about the mini contest. I would have won the mini contest in, what was it, 2023 in December. I would have won it, but Miles Sanders fumbled in that game that Gardner Minshew started, and Dallas kicked the field goal to go up 6 instead of 3, and the line is 3.5 or 4, maybe it's 4.5, and that was.
I won the mini contest years ago.
Yeah,
and I got a win on the last Sunday night. This is the year. These are the years where we didn't have mini contests until the last 3 weeks of the season. Right. And I remember I needed a push to place or a win to win, or not to place, to tie, and a win to win to get ahead. And it was a Tony Romo fumble in his own 25-yard line, which gave Washington the ball. And Washington kicked the late field goal to win by 6. The line was 3. I had Washington -3 in that game. And won the mini contest about 13 years ago.
Ah, nice. That's awesome.
2012, I think it was.
Yeah, that was 2022 for me, not 23. That was also the year I got gypped on Jalen Hurts MVP because he was the front runner, and then he missed 2 games, and they said, "Oh, he can't win MVP because he missed 2 games." And it's like, wait, but the Eagles lost both those games. So, what? I don't understand the argument there. I'd Hurts at 40-1 to an MVP, and that didn't work out. So anyway, what number 2 receiver should Pittsburgh trade for at the deadline? I think Jacoby Myers makes sense. Myers could be on the move for the Raiders. He's not a number 1, but he's a really good number 2. He's a good possession guy. He didn't drop a single pass last year, and the coaches love that. So that was my suggestion for the Steelers. I don't think the Steelers have to give up a lot for him either. Anyone come to mind, or do you want to just move on to the next team?
No, I don't have anybody else. I haven't really thought about the trade market much other than the defensive line. Edge rushers, because I'm looking as a Niner fan who the Niners may try to trade for. Yeah, I know I've seen names thrown out like Hendrickson, obviously, or Max Crosby, and those are the kinds of names that I'm looking for. The number 2 receivers, it's not really on my radar.
Okay. Yeah, I think Myers makes some sense. Big Rod Review says, subs, thank you so much, Big Red Rod. Big Rod Reviews. I knew a girl who last name was Rodriguez, and she had red hair. I used to call her Red Rod. That's where that came from. But yeah, thank you, Big Rod Reviews, I should say. Anyway, let's get to the Monday night game. We have Redskins at Chiefs. This line is Chiefs -12.5. The Chiefs, I said this about the Chiefs last week, and I'll say it again. If this game were in 2024, I would be on the Redskins because the Chiefs just weren't winning by margin last year. They were just winning at the bare minimum, 3-point games, no matter what. Maybe in a 4-point game mixed in here, a 6-point game somewhere else. But for the most part, they were winning by 1 score, and they just couldn't do anything beyond that because the receiving core was in shambles. Xavier Worthy was still getting implemented into the offense. They had no Marquise Brown. They had no Rashee Rice because he was hurt, except for the first 4 weeks of the season. Their blocking was awful. They had very poor play at left tackle. So they put Joe Thuney there, and then they had no great play at guard. And Thuney wasn't even that great against the elite edge rushers. So This year's Chiefs team is so much different. They have, Worthy is implemented to the offense. They have Marquise Brown. They have Rashee Rice back now. Travis Kelce is in shape, unlike last year. And they have the blocking. Their left tackle situation is so much better than it was before. And so the Chiefs just look like a completely different team. And so I trust them to cover a big spread like this against the Redskins, who are not going to have Jane Daniels. It's going to be Marcus Mariota. And I don't trust backup quarterbacks against top 10 defenses. The Chiefs are number 10 in defense. So I think they should be able to handle Mariota pretty easily. I think Spagnuolo should have a great game plan. Last week was remarkable. The Chiefs won 31-0, and the Raiders, despite losing 31-0, only had 16 pass attempts. They just didn't have the ball.
Exactly. I was about to say that.
Yeah. The Chiefs just held the ball forever, and
42 minutes.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I like what the Chiefs are doing here. I like them here. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I'll make it short and sweet. I mean, obviously, you just mentioned how they dominated last week. Mm-hmm. Washington's defense, number 28 in total yards per play defense, and they're last in the league against the pass.
Yep.
We said something about the Chiefs earlier in the season, and we were trying to find losses for this team because we thought there would be some regression to what they did last year. And I commented that, well, every single game they play is a primetime game. They either play a primetime team like a Baltimore or Buffalo, which they're playing next week, and that's something we didn't mention here, or they're playing night games. They play Jacksonville at night, and they should have won that game by margin. They dropped a pick when they were up 14-0, and then, of course, threw a pick six that pretty much turned that game around. The Giants game, another easy team they played, was a primetime game. Last week was the first time they didn't play, quote-unquote, a big game. But they took it mighty seriously. They pulled out the Mahomes calling out at the line of scrimmage. This never works. Just to screw with the Raiders. Why wouldn't you save that? Well, because they hate the Raiders, obviously, and they just want to screw with them. Since their 0-2 start, they've won 4 of the 5 games by 13, 17, 13, and 31 points. I expect them to put up 30-plus points. I don't see the Redskins able to stop them. I don't see the Redskins able to slow them down. I know that we're going to be trying to get Kelce the ball because it's National Tight End Day. They're going to be throwing him the ball in the red zone. They'll try to get him his touchdown because that's really all he wants to do is catch a bunch of touchdowns. Wouldn't surprise me if Kelce had a couple of touchdowns in this game. Last week, they were feeding the ball to Rice in the red zone because they wanted to get him back on the stat sheet, get him back into the mix. So home game, night game, primetime, National Tight End Day, you're looking at 28 to 31 points, at least against a bad defense who is not going to have the ball a lot. And it's Mariota. I don't really know how to handicap the difference between how to quantify the difference. I kind of look at the Redskins now fully healthy. And again, their defense has not been good, which is kind of perplexing how they played so well against the Chargers 2 weeks ago. Maybe that was just a product of Bobby Hart and Austin Deculus playing on the offensive line. But I have the Redskins number 10. Do I have them number 10 here now? No, now I have them number 11 because I moved the Chargers back up ahead of the Redskins tonight.
Okay.
And I have them as a +2. And if without Jaden, I kind of move them down into that 24-25 range, which is right around the Cardinals, Browns range. So if that's correct, then I have the Chiefs at least 12 to 13 points better, plus the home field. I think the Chiefs win this game by 2 touchdowns or more. I don't see how the Redskins put up more than 13 to 17 points with Mariota, and I give the Chiefs 31 plus. So this, I kind of gave it away with the last game. Between this game and the Steelers, who do I trust more? Well, I'm very confident in the Chiefs winning this game. I'm very confident in the Chiefs. If it was Jaden and the line were 4.5, what was the advance line, by the way, in this? The look ahead was 5.5. If you told me the line was 5.5 in this game, I would give a little bit more consideration to the Redskins. But with Mariota, I don't see it. So I lean to the Chiefs. Again, same thing I said about the Colts. With the contest picks, I'm not opposed to picking these big favorites. I generally don't like to. I prefer dogs to these big favorites in general. But I'm very confident in the Colts and Chiefs not having any sort of hard time with these 2 games, which means I have no problem taking 14, laying 12.5. What's the current market on this game? Circa right now has 12.5, Super Contest 12.5, Westgate 12.5 as well. I'm curious to see if this line can go up to 13 or 13.5 points. But I do like the Chiefs, and I'd be comfortable putting them into the mix.
Andy actually said yesterday that he thought this would go to 13.5 as well. So we agree on this one. I like the Chiefs, so we'll be betting them. John asking any concerns about Josh Simmons being out. No, Jalen Moore has proven himself to be a good backup, not just in here, but also in San Francisco, playing for Trent Williams last year. He's still done pretty well. He started only 2 games, but he's looked good. He's not as talented as Josh Simmons, but he's a solid backup, so I have no concern there. Andrew says Raiders ran 30 plays last week, 10 in the first quarter, had 3 first downs to 30 for Kansas City. The truth to the rumor, Pete Carroll said after the game, bring on the JETS Jets. So yeah. Anyway, Paris said, I'm kind of shocked by that big of a line move. Makes me feel like the Chiefs were still right at the open of 3.5 with Jaden. The teams are that lopsided. There's a huge difference between Daniels and Mariota. Like we saw it last year. The Redskins were this big upstart team because of Jaden Daniels. And Mariota is not good. Like the last time he was a full-time starter, he wasn't in Atlanta, and Atlanta was one of the worst teams in the NFL under Arthur Smith. So billionaire Arthur Smith, I should say. So
I'm more concerned with the Washington defense lately.
Yeah, it's legit. Yeah, that's terrible. You can't stop anyone.
To me, how many points do you give the Chiefs in this game? I would say you're giving them at least 27, 28, if not 30 plus.
Yeah, for
sure. If that's the case, then I'm comfortable laying the points. I know it's weird to say, hey, we love the Colts, we love the Chiefs, I like the Patriots, we like the Falcons. Going up against some of these bad teams, and Mariota-led Redskins team with one of the worst defenses in the league is a bad team. They're not Jets-Titans bad, but they're bad.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs at home in prime time, you can mark Kelsey down for 1 or 2 touchdowns as long as the Chiefs are not sloppy. Now, last week, even though he did not turn the ball over, Mahomes put the ball in harm's way a couple of times. The Jacksonville game is a perfect example. He put the ball in harm's way, and there was a pick six, 99 yards. Week 1, he threw the ball before halftime right to the Chargers, who dropped the ball. There was a pick 6 sitting for them.
Yeah.
I forget who it was, and they just dropped it. So Mahomes has put the ball in harm's way a couple of times. He's got to be better with the football like he was 2 weeks ago, right? After the Jaguars game, he bounced back. Who was the game 2 weeks ago? That was the Detroit game. He came out in the Detroit game, and they were flawless. There were no penalties. There were no turnovers. I think that's the type of game that he'll play. The question is, the only question to ask about this game is Buffalo's on deck. And we all know that Buffalo's on deck. Now, Kansas City, and we'll talk about this next week, but Kansas City generally for the last 3-4 years doesn't care about the game in the regular season against Buffalo because they beat them every year in the playoffs, basically. It's like, you guys have your Super Bowl now. We'll see you back in January when it counts. And Buffalo wins that game every year in the regular season and loses it in the playoffs. So we'll talk about that next week. But is there any look ahead to short week? Let's get out of Dodge. Let's win this game. Maybe run out the clock up 7 or 10 late. And therefore 12.5. It's like we're not even sniffing a cover because they're not looking to score late. They're going to be able to get that first down. They'll be able to take a knee and move on. So and that's why I was waffling between Pitt +3 and Chiefs laying the wood as my number 5 game.
Mm-hmm. So the only reason I didn't bring up Buffalo is because Chiefs are not. If the Chiefs were like 6-1, I could maybe see look ahead. They're only 4-3, and currently they are behind the Chargers in the standings because the Chargers won tonight. So they're not comfortably ahead. So I don't know if they're in a position to look ahead. Maybe they do, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think they're worried right now about their record. I think they kind of stabilized their season and they feel like they're going to win the game. I think they kind of know they're going to win this game. They go into this week knowing, hey, there's no Jaden here. We're probably going to take care of business. The big game is next week. So I could definitely see somewhat of a lack of focus. Again, if this were 1 o'clock on a Sunday, I'd be more concerned than if it were prime time Monday Night Football.
Yeah. So do you put this down as a definite here, or maybe?
No, it's not a definite. I think for me, I really like the Cowboys at 3.5. I would take them at 3 as well. You don't, so we can get rid of that game. I love the Giants. I think we're getting a great line on the Giants. After that, I think the Falcons were a top 5 pick for me. So I think we have the Falcons and Giants as call it definites. I'm high on the Bucks too.
I had the
I don't know if that was a top 5 for me, but I certainly like it. So I would say we put that in, and I would think we put the Colts in too. I would say the Colts, yeah, Atlanta, Giants, Indy, and I would put the Bucks into that mix. So I think you really like the Bucks.
Yes,
and I'm comfortable with there too. So I think those 4 are our definites. And then I would be between the Chiefs, the Steelers. I'm not going to try to talk you into Dallas. We talked about not touching the Bengals with the Jets. You're not on the Patriots. I'm on the Patriots, but I like the Super Contest line better. Mm-hmm. I think that was pretty much it.
Yeah, we've 4 definites here. We have Atlanta, Giants, Colts, and Buccaneers.
And then we choose from Steelers and Chiefs.
Steelers and Chiefs, yeah. So it sounds like you like the Chiefs better.
I don't know. I actually, when I ranked them before, I wrote 5 Steelers, 6 Chiefs, but I don't know. I mean, I'll look at this tomorrow. We'll look at injury reports again until I'm blue in the face, and then ultimately around 4 or 5 o'clock, I'll send an email to Andy and say go with it, unless barring a quarterback injury and you have permission to remove whatever team. I like to roll with it.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure which one I would take over the other. I generally lean more towards dog than I do favorite, which is why now I have Steelers ahead of Chiefs.
Okay.
But I don't like the push. If that line were 3.5, no brainer.
Yes,
but I agree. 3, and it's still Mike Tomlin. And Mike Tomlin makes bad decisions every game.
Yeah.
There's a reason why he goes 8-9, 9-8 every year. Or 8-8 or 9-8, because when they lose, he wins the next game. Then they win, and he loses the following game. He's just an easy coach to handicap when it comes to his weekly preparation and motivation of his team.
Yeah, it's true. So gun to your head, you put Steelers or Chiefs on the card right now.
Well, right now I'd probably go Steelers over Chiefs because again I like dogs, but I don't know. I might flip flop on that 10 times over the next 5 hours.
Okay. So let me put this here for if anyone wants to check. The 8 Sixers, 19 and 16. Atlanta minus 7.5. Giants plus 7.5. Colts minus 14. Tampa minus 3.5. Pittsburgh plus 3. Pittsburgh pending. Could be Kansas City. So looks good to me. I like this card. Could be another 3-1 heading into Monday night, going to 4-1, or potentially 4-0 heading into Monday night, possibly 5-0. Or if it's Kansas City, I should say. So anyway, yeah, I guess that's about it. You might take the Chiefs because of the hook. Because we're not getting the hook, you mean, in the Pittsburgh game? I assume that's what you mean. Yeah. So anyway, anything else before we head out, or 2 hours plus?
No, I think the last topic when I chimed in last night, I think Indy is the survivor pick times 2, and I considered Cincy. And maybe, again, upsets have happened. I've lost 14-point favorites on the money line in the past. Yep. So there's always an upset. We're going to say this, crazier things have happened, right?
Yep.
The Cardinals won that game. Lost that game somehow. And also gives me a chance maybe to take Indy down the road. But one of my friends pointed out tonight that Cincinnati, you might get Burrow back late in the season.
Oh, yeah.
So if Burrow comes back in mid-December, they could be an option down the road because they play Miami week 16, they play Arizona, and they play Cleveland late in games that may actually matter. So if Burrow is back and they're looking better, that could be a reason why I may want to save Cincinnati for some of the later weeks. And I mentioned this when we talked about the Colts. They don't have a lot of games where they're going to be favored by 7+. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, I don't see any games where they're favored by 7+ now. So I'm probably going to roll with the Colts for 2 of my remaining 2 picks. There's about 45 or 4,400 people left in Survivor, 4,200, 4,214 to be exact. I would go out on a limb and say that I think more than half of the remaining participants will have Indy.
No, yeah.
Again, it's not a holiday team. We've talked about the holiday teams that are needed to save. It's a team that's favored by 14. It's as free square as you're going to get. and you don't really need them down the road. So it would surprise me if we didn't see like a good 55-60% of the remaining participants on Indy. And I think all these big favorites are going to cover. I don't think anybody, like a lot of people took the Chiefs last week. That was a mistake. I think it'd be a mistake to take the Chiefs because they're a holiday team, a double holiday team, Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah.
But I can see people taking the Patriots. I can see people taking the Falcons. I can even see people taking the Bengals. But I think the Falcons and the Patriots will be popular picks. But I would predict that 55 to 60% on the Colts survive and advance this week. I think next week's also a relatively easy week. I'm just really praying to get 2 entries to Thanksgiving. Because Thanksgiving week, I'm looking at Baltimore in one, Philly in the other, and then I could start taking this really seriously. Obviously, I take it seriously every week. I spend a lot of hours looking through potential picks and pathways to handicap the percentages and to try to make sure my equity is in as good a position as possible. But really, until you advance past Thanksgiving, it's hard to get overly excited about the pool. So that's my goal. And then we can really start having some fun and having some real conversations about who I'm taking and who we're thinking about. And because we said if we win, you're going to come out on the private jet to Vegas to help collect that giant check. We'll go out. We'll take Andy out. We said if we win something, we'll we joked around. We'll get Andy a new car.
Yeah, well, Andy might be listening. Yes,
I hope Andy's listening. Andy, I love riding with you from the Tuscany to the Westgate. It's although it was 105 degrees that day, and I don't think the AC was working in the car. So, we got to fix that air conditioning, Andy.
Yes,
I don't know if I can last the 5 minutes.
Or at least if no new car, then new air conditioning at the very least. So, yeah. So
that's it. That's the week. Colts Survivor. I think we're good on our picks.
Oh, this is Andy. I didn't realize.
Oh, hey, Andy.
This was Andy. I didn't realize it was you, Andy. I saw Andrew, I5L commenting, but I didn't realize that was you. It is fixed now. Okay.
Awesome.
There we go.
Andy, you're the best, Andy.
Yeah, absolutely, Andy. So that's pretty cool that you were listening here and commenting. I like I said, I saw Andrew. I was like, oh, okay, new viewer. I didn't realize it was you. So Andrew says hello, everyone. Well, we're about to sign out, but yeah, guys. So hopefully our contest goes well. It's just like last week. We went 4-1. I'd love another 4-1 or 5-0 would be sweet. We haven't had one of those yet this year, so I would really like to get one. But yeah. Otherwise, that is about it. So, who else would make that comment about Pete Carroll? That's true. That's true. I didn't put 2 and 2 together. That's a good point. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store, visit walterfootball.com. And we thank you to Harambe Slayer for the $9.99 super chat. Really appreciate it, Harambe Slayer. Okay. So Google did something weird. Everyone has their @ name showing. Oh, interesting. That's weird. Yeah, well, except for yeah, it's kind of weird. So anyway, guys, once again, sorry for this time. Oh, no worries. Because let's talk about the WNBA. I prefer to be anonymous. Yeah, well, as long as we can bet unders in WNBA blowouts, then I'm all good there. Which is a serious moneymaker. Well, actually, like they're stopped being blowouts in like the final 4 weeks of the season. That the WNBA was such a bummer. I kept like waiting every night. I was like, is there a blowout? No. That was really disappointing. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys have a great weekend. If you don't listen to the show tomorrow, we'll be back with Tom. It's a sort of different show. We don't go straight down the card. We bounce around every game. Talk about which ones we like the most for our card. So that's something different. Plus, we talk about nonsense, as Tom would agree. So anyway, that is going to be our last show of the week. But yeah, otherwise, I hope you guys have a great night. And if we don't talk to you tomorrow, hope you have a great Sunday/Monday watching the games, and I hope you win every bet. Otherwise,